I really need to get back into writing. Had a lot on my plate lately. Last couple of months I've been very busy editing cruise videos for my family vlog channel, but that's kind of off my plate. Also started a podcast back in December and I've been trying to get on top of that. And the actual proper fiction writing, well, that's kind of taken the back seats all year. I'm also lacking a bit of motivation in that at the moment I just don't have the money for my professional edit and cover design. So you start to get that feeling of, well, what's the point? But tax time's coming up soon, and that could be a potential solution to that. So the last thing I want is to get into a situation where I've got the money for the edit, but my manuscript's not ready. So I just need to get to work. I'm pretty happy with the manuscript. It just needs a bit of a polish, and then I can at least have it ready to send to beta readers. So starting tomorrow morning, I'm going to make a concerted effort to get back into some fiction writing before work. I tend to do fiction work best in the morning before work. I'm not a morning person, I'm a night person. I hate getting up early, and I like staying up late. But I don't like to work at night. I like to relax and have fun. You see, my day job leaves me an empty husk of a person. So I've got nothing left to give mentally. That's why I really need to do my writing before work, before I've lost it all. Is that illogical? So I guess I should try and deal with all this now while my wife's out getting dinner. Then I don't have to worry about it tomorrow. Anyway, last time I was in a situation like this, I found that making a writing vlog was really helpful. So, we're doing it again. The light shining through the misty air is kind of cool. Well, tomorrow the adventure begins. See you in the morning. Morning. Alright, here I am at my desk, ready to start. So, I'm working on Jewel of the Stars, Episode 3. Each book in this series is a 30,000 word novella. There are 6 episodes in a season, and I have a planned story arc of 4 seasons. So earlier this year, I read through the whole story again and made some notes. But late last year, I actually got a bit of a critique from some friends on the first chapter. Still got to have some breakfast, of course. Let's see what notes I've got in my trusty little notebook. I actually changed the point of view character for this scene because it was written from the captain's point of view, and he was the one who was really hard-nosed about wanting medical information to use as a weapon against these aliens. And I realised this wasn't in his character, so I gave that role to the first officer and I made her the point of view character. Works much better. This is a problem. I heard recently that people wink in books much more often than they ever do in real life. And that's true. Action beats are a bit of a challenge for me sometimes. Just picking the right one. In the end, I don't think I need a beat at all. I'm trying to get across the idea that she's kind of being a bit, just a gentle ribbing, but I think that has to come through the dialogue, which I think it is. I'm talking here about how the morgue had never been used in all the time Miller had been captain of the Jewel of the Stars. This word never, that really confines me to any stories I might want to write in the future set before this point, which I am considering. So, I'm going to make that rarely. It leaves me a loophole. Not only is this a cliche, but it also makes the first officer of this starship kind of appear like a pouty child. Now, I'm tempted to say strode out, but that is one of my wizard words. People are always striding in my stories. Sometimes the simpler word is the best. And this is where I need my Kindle, because I put some percentage markers in here for what part of the story I'm referring to. And an interesting thing about Ian, his full name here I've said is Mr. Ian Woon, which of course is a little Easter egg because I wrote this first draft during NaNoWriMo. You rearrange these letters and you get NaNoWriMo. Now I had said that from this scene I cut to Olivia, and then I cut to Yintol, and then I'm back with the engineers. I am seriously considering that I should probably drag this scene up here and just keep these together, which would actually probably make them the same scene. There's no reason for a scene break between them because it's not really a change of time or place. I mean, we're literally following them as they walk through the door. Yeah, I don't think there's really any reason to keep them apart. So that would then mean we've got a scene with Miller and Maya. Then we cut to engineer and security. Then we meet Olivia. Then we're hanging out with Yintol in the cargo in the shuttle bay. What to know? On my way. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Then we have to talk to Dahlia Spring. Reacting to brief after discussion. So we got 3 scenes here with the captain. Comes to Glenn's attention. Then we're back with Olivia again. Yeah, I think that ordering works better. I actually took a lot less notes than I realised. There's not a lot of changes that are needed here. Like, I'm pretty much almost at the end of the first act, and I haven't really done anything. Now, this is a case where I wrote this scene, but I've been on 2 cruises now. I can probably do a better job of describing this scene. Ships don't have walls. They have bulkheads. Okay, now this is an interesting one. My original concept for the character of Glenn, who is the cruise director on this ship, was a bit flawed. I developed the character before I'd actually been on a cruise myself, and I didn't really know what the role of a cruise director was. I created this really kind of fake, kind of loves himself a bit too much kind of character, and people would refer to him as director. And that's not at all what a cruise director is. Cruise director is like a celebrity on the ship. Everyone loves the cruise director. They're just like, everyone's favourite person. And, you refer to them by name. And, you go up and you take selfies with the cruise director, stuff like that. It's not at all my original vision for the character. So no one is ever going to say, "Excuse me, director." They're going to refer to him by name. Which of course means I don't need this line here where he says, "Please, Glenn." What can I do for you? So that's way too formal. It is more like, "What's up?" Alright, so I've worked on my story here for almost 3/4 of an hour. So that's pretty good. I mean, I don't feel like I've done much, but then the kind of work I'm doing here is just little bits and pieces. And like I've gone through half the story already, so another day of this and I'll be able to send this out to beta readers. But the most important thing is I've broken the slump, I've made a start, I've done the first day, and that's the hardest bit. Once you start establishing the routine again, it's easier to keep the momentum going. But you've got to start that momentum. That's the hard bit. Day 2 of my writing vlog, and I slept in until almost 10 o'clock this morning. And I have zero guilt because it's Saturday. Saturday is the one day of the week when I can really sleep in just as long as my body wants to. Alright, so I'm at my desk. I've done a little marketing of my latest podcast episode, and it's time to do some writing. So, let's see what I can get done today. So I wanted to differentiate the shield research they got from the colony planet in the last book, which is like the Star Trek type shields that protect the ship from enemy weapons fire, from the shielding that the engineer applies to the engine core to protect it from this interference field, which is causing problems for the engine. So I'm using the word barrier for the engine core thing. And I thought, well, they have a similar name, but they're very different technologies. But what if, she was thinking about the shielding research earlier in the book, probably wishing she was doing that fun research project now instead of trying to deal with this impossible problem with the engines. And that would then actually be the thing that sparked the idea of trying to create a barrier around the engine core. So that kind of ties the two things together and just reminds you again of this little ongoing subplot of the shield research, which is going to continue through multiple books. I sometimes use the letters XX as a placeholder in my manuscript. I have to come up with some kind of a name for kind of a scientific thing that doesn't exist. Coming up with something that doesn't sound silly is always a challenge. A field is a region in which each point is affected by a force. It's really hard to come up with a name that doesn't sound cheesy. Glenrick. I kind of like that as a name, Glenrick, for a character. When Ian tells people. I think that works better than Glinsat. Okay, so I've basically gone through all the notes that I've taken now and actioned them. So I think I'm pretty close to having this cleaned up and ready to send. Anyway, it's time for lunch. Being an author isn't all about just sitting at the computer all day and slowly becoming morbidly obese. I find that walking is an important part of the creative process. I get ideas on my feet much better than I do on my bottom. Plus, I need to get some steps on my Walk to Mordor challenge. Good morning, it's Sunday. I'm going to do something a little bit different today, because I pretty much got my manuscript into the shape that I wanted for beta readers yesterday. I'm part of a writing group from an organisation, and we do monthly meetups, and every now and then part of that is we do a writing prompt, and everyone writes something based on that prompt, and then we read each other's stories, and yeah, good fun. So today I'm going to be responding to this month's story prompt, and I have to write a story of 350 words. So the prompt is, "You're early," said the Grim Reaper with a hint of surprise. Alright, so the prompt itself gives me 11 words. So I was thinking about this story as I was getting ready this morning. So I've got pretty much it all in my head. Got almost 100 words still to go. But I do want to tighten this up a bit. I mean, one of the reasons you write such short stories is to learn how to tighten up your work. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. That was kind of fun. Well, that's my Sunday writing. I'll see you tomorrow. So there's a particular subplot that I've got ongoing through my series, and I'm trying to figure out if I need to reference it specifically in this book. Basically, I'm thinking of a scene where I just have some characters acknowledge that they've got a couple of characters in the brig who are essentially just sitting there without a trial. What I'm going to do is read or skim through the next book in the series just to see if I mention it there or if there's a more convenient place I can slot it in that book rather than trying to force it into the end of this book. Ideally, I don't want to put it at the end of this book because I think I've got a good ending, and I think adding this scene is just going to interrupt the flow and get in the way. So that's what I'm doing today. It's a cold one today. I had to put my jumper on. Anyway, it's now 9 o'clock. Gone through the next episode. Doesn't appear to be any specific mention of this concept. So now my decision is, do I try and fit it in there or in this story? So that'll be tomorrow's problem. I've got to go do some actual work now. Well, it is day 5. So I decided that scene I was thinking about yesterday is not going into this book. I think it actually fits better into book 4 than it does in book 3. So I'm going to leave that alone for now. So what I have to do now is compile the manuscript into various file formats and send an email out to my email list inviting people to become beta readers. And I think that's going to be riveting viewing. So I think this is a natural ending point for the writing vlog. So I want to thank you for coming along on this journey and watching. It has certainly been helpful and motivating to me. I feel like the rock is starting to roll down the hill. I've got a bit of momentum behind me. So it's been really good. I will see you again at some point out there.